Stone and Webster were determined to stay on top of the Northwest transportation trends, no matter the cost. So when automobiles became popular in 1922, the Pacific Northwest Traction Company formed the Interurban Motor Company and set about producing their own stage cars and stage buses. Stage cars had a unique appeal to passengers. No longer did they have to wait for a scheduled arrival or travel along a set route. They could go wherever they wanted. Even freight such as eggs and crops could be handled by cars. As cars became available at prices even a farmer could afford, passenger use of the trolley began to fade. In 1927, the Pacific Highway, also known as the U.S. Highway 99, was completed, connecting Seattle to Bellingham. Instead of taking the rail, people could take the highway on their own time and stop at friendly mom-and-pop stations like Keeler's Corner along the way. Passenger use for the trolley dropped even further. In 1932, the George Washington Bridge was completed. This bridge was the final link in Highway 99, a 3,000-foot stretch across Lake Union. However, it wasn't the highway or its bridge that signaled the end of the trolley line. That would come from the Pacific Northwest Traction Company themselves. Using their new Interurban Motor Company brand, the Traction Company released a series of stage buses that offered hourly service between Bellingham and Seattle. Prices and route time were the same as the trolley, but this new bus line offered observation areas, better ventilation, and a chance for even those who couldn't afford their own motorcar to enjoy the experience of motorized travel. Only 4 years later, Seattle Municipal began converting its famous streetcar lines into bus routes. The Traction Company, now the North Coast Transportation Company, had faced decades of restrictions from their urban stops, including inspections and speed limits of 20 miles per hour. Now, with the loss of the streetcars, the transportation company would be the only industry left that required Seattle lines to function. Without competition, Seattle Municipal could charge the transportation company as many fees as they wanted to use the lines. With their route at risk, the traffic manager for the transportation company announced an official end to the Seattle-Everett Interurban Railway. All company resources would be shifted towards expanding their motor coach industry. It was the end of an era. On February 20, 1939, the Interurban trolley left Everett for Seattle for the last time. By that time, there were only 3 cars left running, with 25 employees left on staff. Nevertheless, almost 2,000 people came to see cars number 51 and 53 off, including the veterans of the Foreign War's 50-piece band and the Young Men's Business Club. Even Carl Davis, the conductor for the Interurban's first line, rode as a passenger. Immediately after the last day, crews began ripping up tracks. Rails were sold as scrap metal, and the stripped right-of-ways, now no more than flattened dirt, were left behind as pedestrian trails and bike paths. As for the trolley cars themselves, many were also scrapped or recycled for their parts, if they couldn't be resold. Numbers 50 and 54 were turned into logging coaches and sent back into the same forest that had once been cleared for their routes. 4 other cars were turned into restaurants over the years, including the B-Line Lunch and the old 55. The ventilated windows and long, thin shape made them good sources for putting in kitchens and dining booths. Other uses included cabins, workshops, even chicken coops. Most, however, were simply abandoned.